The Digital Sleuth, January 20th, 2012. We are in the New Zealand countryside, outside a sprawling, opulent mansion. The silence is suddenly shattered by the sound of heavy rotors and the arrival of a full-scale SWAT team. Inside, the massive figure of the Internet king, Dotcom, is barricaded, clutching a shotgun. His massive $175 million digital kingdom, built on the foundations of file sharing, is collapsing. The Digital Sleuth, will he fight back? No, he chooses to surrender, recognizing that his audacious game has finally reached its end. This confrontation is more than just a police raid. It is the dramatic climax of one of the most significant international cybercrime documentary stories of our time. It raises the immediate question: how did a simple misfit hacker end up as the primary target of a global manhunt orchestrated by the US government? This is the Digital Sleuth, and we're diving deep into the downfall of an empire. The Digital Sleuth, long before he was known as Dotcom, he was just Kim Schmitz, a young misfit kid in Kiel, Germany, back in the early 1990s. He found his solace and his power in the glow of computer screens. He adopted the alias Kimble, inspired by a fugitive on a 1960s TV show, a name that perfectly fit his self-image as a digital outlaw. By his late teens, the legend of Kimble was being born, fueled by his boasts of hacking into places like NASA and even the Pentagon. The Digital Sleuth, while many of his most sensational claims were later disputed, his undeniable talent for system exploitation was not. By the mid-90s, he was running a bulletin board service, which served as a marketplace for classic, early-stage cybercrime, including the trading of pirated software and stolen calling card numbers. The authorities eventually caught up with him, leading to his conviction in 1998 on multiple counts of computer fraud and data espionage. Remarkably, the judge released him with just a 2-year suspended sentence, dismissing his actions as mere youthful foolishness. Kim walked free, quickly realizing the immense power of cultivating an image as a lovable rogue. His focus soon pivoted from simple hacking to high finance and manipulation. In 2001, he executed a calculated pump-and-dump investment scheme. He would quietly acquire stock in a failing company, then publicly announce a colossal investment, watching the stock price artificially skyrocket on the news. He would then immediately sell his stake at the peak, netting around $1.5 million in profit, before backing out of the investment entirely. Once again, he managed to avoid serious jail time, walking away with just probation. Kim had money and notoriety, but more importantly, he had developed a taste for bending the rules for maximum financial advantage. The crucial question became, how many times can one truly cheat the system before the system pays attention? In his mid-20s, Kim Schmitz rebranded himself, becoming the man we know, Dotcom, a surname that literally flaunted his love for the booming internet. He left Germany, looking to shed his criminal past, and eventually surfaced with a brand new, bold venture. In 2005, megaupload officially went live. He pitched megaupload as the YouTube of file sharing, a completely anonymous place where anyone could upload any type of file, videos, music, documents, and instantly get a handy download link to share freely. The concept was simple, straightforward, and explosively popular. Dotcom had just initiated his most ambitious hack yet, not against a single computer, but against the entire global entertainment industry itself. Megaupload became a global phenomenon almost instantaneously. By the late 2000s, it boasted an astonishing 50 million daily users and was, at its peak, the 13th most visited website globally. This massive platform accounted for a staggering 4% of all internet traffic. If you were downloading a new song or a movie back then, chances are megaupload was involved. This rapid growth demonstrated the dark side of the new digital economy, where immense wealth was generated by systematically circumventing intellectual property laws. Money poured in from global advertising and millions of premium subscriptions sold to users who wanted faster download speeds. By 2010, the king of this digital domain, Kim, was reportedly paying himself $42 million in a single year. He began living his life like true internet royalty, cruising around New Zealand in a convoy of exotic cars, including a pink Cadillac with ironic vanity plates that read, "Hacker" and "God." He leased his $30 million mansion, complete with the gigantic Dotcom mansion sign at the gate. But Kim's audacity wasn't confined to just spending money. He absolutely relished taunting his powerful enemies. In late 2011, as Hollywood studios were becoming increasingly furious over Megaupload's massive popularity, Kim made an outrageous move. He released a music video called The Mega Song, which featured A-list celebrities like Kanye West and Serena Williams singing the praises of his service. This was a brazen public poke, practically a direct dare to the entertainment industry to come after him. In interviews, Kim maintained that he was running a legitimate business, positioning himself to his millions of users as a kind of Robin Hood of the digital age. He joked, "I respect copyright. What I don't respect is copyright extremism," turning the legal argument back on the studios. However, to Hollywood, Kim.com was not a folk hero. He was a piracy kingpin, bleeding their profits. By their internal count, his digital empire was costing content creators over $500 million in lost revenue. As Kim was throwing lavish parties and, bizarrely, topping the global leaderboards of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, he was literally the #1 ranked player in the world. A legal storm was intensely brewing. Kim was trolling Hollywood in public, but the studios were already calling in a bigger weapon: the United States government. By late 2011, the showdown had reached a fever pitch in Washington, D.C. Hollywood lobbyists were heavily pushing for the Stop Online Piracy Act, or SOPA, a proposal that threatened to give authorities sweeping powers to shut down sites like Megaupload. In a landmark moment for internet activism, major websites went dark in protest in January 2012, and SOPA collapsed under massive public outcry. Kim.com celebrated the victory, mistakenly believing he had dodged the bullet. He couldn't have been more wrong. Unbeknownst to him, the U.S. government had been secretly building a massive legal case for months, driven by the intense anger of the entertainment industry. The FBI and the U.S. Department of Justice had partnered with authorities from around the globe to dismantle what they officially dubbed the mega conspiracy. On January 5, 2012, a grand jury in Virginia returned a detailed indictment against Kim.com and 6 of his top associates. The indictment accused the Megaupload Group of operating an international organized criminal enterprise that had generated over $175 million in criminal proceeds. The charges themselves were severe, reading like a storyline from a crime movie. These charges included racketeering, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit copyright infringement. Essentially, the U.S. was aggressively painting Kim.com not as a mere facilitator of file sharing, but as the organized kingpin of a massive international cybercrime ring, directly profiting off stolen intellectual property. The government had their charges ready, but would they catch Kim off guard? 2 weeks later, the hammer dropped. On the night of January 19, 2012, U.S. officials unsealed the Megaupload indictment, and law enforcement raids simultaneously hit Megaupload servers around the globe. The site was pulled offline without warning. Visitors to megaupload.com suddenly saw an official FBI anti-piracy notice. That very same night, completely unaware, Kim.com was hosting a lavish birthday barbecue to ring in his 38th birthday. He was literally celebrating when the takedown began. The next morning, January 20, 2012, the silence was broken by the sound of the police assault. Helicopters thumping in the air, armed officers pouring through the estate's doors. This was no ordinary warrant service. It was a full-blown assault, involving 76 officers from New Zealand's elite anti-terror unit. They were deployed to capture a single man. Hearing the commotion, Kim dashed into a secret safe room hidden on the mansion's upper level. It took the officers only minutes to breach the high-tech locks. When they finally ripped the door open, they found Kim.com inside, visibly red-faced and trembling, with a short-barreled shotgun lying just out of his reach. He offered no resistance as they quickly cuffed him. The mega empire was officially collapsing. Authorities seized a trove of luxury goods, including 18 exotic cars with those ironic vanity plates, and stacks of hard drives. In total, authorities successfully froze about $175 million of Dotcom's assets across numerous bank accounts worldwide. For the first time in his life, Kim was sitting in a jail cell, denied bail as an extreme flight risk. The U.S. Justice Department celebrated, declaring that this historic takedown had successfully gutted a major criminal network responsible for massive piracy. The man who once lived like an internet kingpin was now a disheveled and bewildered public spectacle. By all standards, this looked like the definitive end. Yet, even from prison, Kim insisted that the fight was far from over. The next crucial battleground moved immediately to New Zealand's courtrooms. With a team of high-powered lawyers, Dotcom launched a fierce legal counteroffensive. Almost immediately, cracks began to appear in the prosecution's handling of the raid. In June 2012, a New Zealand High Court judge ruled that the search warrants used on the mansion were invalid because they were overly broad and therefore illegal. Even more damaging, it was revealed that U.S. agents had unlawfully copied Dotcom's data and shipped it offshore without proper permission, a move the judge heavily slammed as unlawful. These significant legal blunders provided Dotcom with a critical lifeline. Within a month, he was released on bail and back home with his family. Over the next few years, Dotcom transformed into a public figure and a martyr for internet freedom in New Zealand. He remained incredibly active on social media and utterly unbowed. Astonishingly, in 2013, he launched a brand new file-sharing service called Mega, this time with built-in end-to-end encryption to shield both himself and his users from government snooping. The extradition case itself became an unprecedented legal spectacle, dragging on for over a decade in the New Zealand courts. Dotcom's team fought the relentless U.S. prosecutors at every single turn, appealing each adverse decision. But the U.S. Department of Justice was resolute, determined to ensure the kingpin of this massive cybercrime operation would face justice in an American courtroom. The legal process was glacial. However, in 2020, New Zealand's Supreme Court finally delivered a critical ruling. Dotcom could indeed be extradited to the U.S. on most of the charges against him. The final, ultimate decision was punted to New Zealand's Justice Minister. Successive ministers hesitated to sign the career-defining order. All the while, the original cast of co-accused characters was narrowing. Some associates struck deals with prosecutors. One co-founder sadly passed away in 2022. Dotcom was now essentially standing alone in this monumental legal battle against one of the world's most powerful legal systems. Finally, after 12 years of grueling legal skirmishes, the news Dotcom had dreaded arrived. On August 15, 2024, New Zealand's new Minister of Justice, Paul Goldsmith, signed the extradition order. It seemed he would finally be sent to the United States to face the music of his piracy charges. But in classic Dotcom fashion, he refused to surrender, tweeting defiantly, "Don't worry, I have a plan," hinting at yet another last-ditch legal maneuver. As of today, Dotcom remains a free man in New Zealand. The question that has defined his last decade remains in legal limbo. Will the king of file sharing finally be put on a U.S. plane in handcuffs, or will his final legal gambit allow him to escape American justice once and for all? The story of Dotcom is so much more than just a fight over movies and music. It stands as a pivotal case study in the evolution of cybercrime, where organized digital enterprises found a way to globally monetize stolen intellectual property on an industrial scale. This case fundamentally forced governments and law enforcement agencies across the globe to redefine what constitutes organized crime in the internet age. What are the crucial takeaways from the biggest cybercrime documentary case of its kind? As technology enthusiasts and consumers, we must learn from this history. The first lesson is that due diligence is key. Services like megaupload were built on the premise of absolute anonymity and no questions asked. Always take the time to assess the legitimacy and legal compliance of any service that is tasked with storing your data or providing you with content. The second lesson is that intellectual property is a target. Just as megaupload cost companies $500 million, today's sophisticated dark web scams, major phishing campaigns, and international data breaches are all about monetizing stolen digital assets. This financial motivation remains the central driving force behind almost all of the major internet mysteries and attacks we cover. Finally, the third lesson is that accountability is global. The megaupload takedown demonstrated an unprecedented level of international cooperation among law enforcement agencies. No matter where a digital kingpin bases their operation, If the crime impacts U.S. intellectual property or financial markets, the long reach of global justice is now effectively borderless. Dotcom hacked the entertainment industry and, for the moment, is paying the price. But what happens when hackers stop fighting studios and instead focus entirely on stealing your private identity and selling it to the highest bidder? You can check out that chilling story in our next video, where we dive into Genesis Market, the dark web's infamous Amazon for stolen identities. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Digital Sleuth for more deep dives into the world of cybercrime.